Going on, everybody? What is going on? The Catch fam. Hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight. Hope everyone has had a great Tuesday. Hope you guys are ready. Week 12 of the season is upon us, so you know exactly what we need to do. Some live fantasy Q&A, whatever you guys need. Start sits. If you can still trade in your league, you don't have a trade deadline, trade questions. Waiver wire questions. We got some time before submitting those waiver wire requests, whatever we call them. Biocalypse this week. 6 teams on bye, so it's going to be a tough week. Going to have to navigate some things here, some tough roster decisions. So you know what to do. Hop in the live chat. Let us know what you guys need, and let's get into it tonight and have some fun. Gonna talk some fantasy football. Pete's in the house. What's up, dude?
Not much. Heading towards the playoffs. I'm doing good in like every league except one, but I did just beat the number one team. I'm gonna roll out 4 in a row. We're making that playoffs. I don't even know where I am in the standings. I'm not gonna look. I might jinx it, but let's do it. Biocalypse, 6 teams, great teams, Bills, Bengals, Jets. Okay. But yeah, it's going to be a tough week to navigate. Let's get into it.
I know it's and like I said in the videos throughout the week, week 14, Biocalypse part 2. So make sure you guys are paying attention because week 14 is going to be pretty crucial in terms of fantasy. But yeah, like you said, Falcons, Bills, Bengals, Jags, Saints, Jets. So plenty of implications for rosters this week. So whatever you guys need, let us know. Let us know how the lineup looks for the week for you guys, where problems are arising, what you guys are eyeing on the waiver wire. Like I said, if you can still do trades, if you guys have trade questions. And of course, as always, start set questions for the week. And let's have some fun tonight. Let's talk some fantasy. So let's take a quick look at the news, but I don't think there's anything too crazy. Joe Douglas got fired. I guess there's
Shocker.
That. Yeah, but really, I think this is a bad move by the Jets. Like, they can't hire a new GM, so it's like until the season ends. So it's like now you just look like you're in a state of disarray, which you are. But
I think that may have been the move because Woody Johnson want to get out ahead of this because he's going to probably take the ambassador job again when Trump's inaugurated. And so he's like, I picked the head coach. I picked the GM still. Bye, everybody. Have fun.
What a mess. Now there's these rumors surfacing that the Jets don't want Rodgers back next year. What a mess. Who cares, though, other than
he's going to the Vikings. Rodgers. We have no quarterbacks under contract besides McCarthy.
And then he's got to commit fraud or whatever else Brett Favre did. Then the cycle is complete, right?
No, we're winning this time.
I know. Other than that, yeah, there's really no major news. Darnell Mooney's hamstring injury not considered serious. Tommy DeVito starting for the Giants. Tommy Cutlets back in the mix. That'll be exciting. It is a good matchup for DeVito this week. Well, you guys will see me talk about that in the quarterback tight end video when that drops. Other than that, yeah, I mean, fortunately, we came out of this week minimal injuries, nothing crazy. So that's it. Little smack talk to Jets fans, and let's get rolling here.
They're used to it at this point. They're ready.
No. Bryce, what's up, man? Do I trade Rico, Brian Thomas Jr., Jennings for CMC? Ready for the playoffs? I mean, this really got to be dependent on the entire roster here. This one's a little. I mean, I don't mind going and getting CMC. I don't mind saying bye to Rico. Depending on the wide receivers, I don't mind losing Brian Thomas Jr. getting CMC in return, but Jennings is like a league winner right now. And I still think there's hope for Brian Thomas. I mean, he had double digits this past week, and he's got a decent, I'll take that back, a little bit of a tough schedule to finish the year, but good matchup in week 13. But Yeah, take a second if you can, throw out the roster here, and we'll reevaluate. But I don't mind getting CMC if you feel good about it. Really depends on the wide receivers. Ghost Hunter, what's up? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much did you like Taysom's performance this week, Pete?
If you watch the Sunday video, if you've been watching the live streams, everything, I hate Taysom Hill. I sat him in the one league I had him. I played Dalton Schultz instead. I still led the league in scoring, catch fam 5, so ain't a big deal. But it's so stupid. That Brown, it was 14-14 going into the fourth quarter, and then that happened. Like, he threw a terrible interception. He missed a wide open touchdown. Like, God, he'll get 5 points this week. I'm counting it now. 5 points, Taysom Hill this week.
Well, he's on bye week this week.
Oh, so there you go. 0. Perfect. I'm the best. Look at that.
So I liked Taysom going into week 11. I liked him against the Falcons. Last time he played the Falcons, he had double digits. And then, and I talked about Taysom a lot going into week 11. And then he had like 7 points, I believe. I think he had a touchdown call back, though, to be fair. And then I was like, you know what? I'm off the Taysom Hill train. And then, yeah, I mean, here's the thing, like, and I talked about this in the waiver wire video. Like, sure, you can pick up Taysom and stash him until week 13, right? But he's not going to do that again, you know? And the inconsistency is what we're used to with Taysom Hill. I mean, sure, he'll be plenty involved because there's nobody to really involve here other than Kamara. And I know MVS is doing things, but he has 3 or less catches in the last 2 games. So he's basically replacing that Rashid Shaheed type role, right? But there's nobody else on this team relevant. So he'll be involved, but to what degree? I don't know. The matchups are pretty good. Rams, Giants, Commanders, Packers, Raiders to finish the season, but 42 points is not going to happen again. So proceed with caution. That is always the final verdict with Taysom. Carlos, I have a gut feeling that QJ blows up rest of season. Thoughts? I like him over Tillman. I mean, Quentin Johnston's already blowing up, you know, and this is one of the calls that I feel good about on the season because if you guys go back and watch the videos, I was really encouraging you guys to pick up Quentin Johnston around weeks, really around weeks 7 and 8 when we were trying to get him to return from injury because he got dropped in so many leagues, had 2 single-digit performances against good teams, the Chiefs and the Broncos, and then we knew he was returning from injury, and the schedule was really lightening up, and he had 2 big games early in the season. Good red zone chemistry with Herbert. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to pick him up now, although he still sits at 59% rostered going into this waiver period, so not too bad. But I think the big thing with QJ is the floor is safe. Just kind of knocked on MVS, right, for low volume. Johnson has 4 or less catches in 3 straight games, just a touchdown in 3 straight games. So I think the floor is good. 2 really good matchups for QJ. Ravens, Falcons the next 2 weeks. So, and I was super annoyed because originally when I put together the waiver video for Sunday, I put Quentin Johnston in there. And I always record those before Sunday Night Football. And I was going to be like, I'm going to predict he has a good game on Sunday Night Football because that's what I said all week long. And he's going to be a good pickup. And then I was like, I'll just leave him out since he's playing. And then that's exactly what happened. But I will say when we're looking at volume here, the Browns wide receivers are going to be very unpredictable. Tillman still had 8 targets this past week, so I wouldn't get too upset if you own him. That's the same amount of targets as Elijah Moore. 1 less than Njoku and 3 less than Judy. They're just throwing the football a ton. I don't know in the next, like their schedule sucks is my biggest concern for Tillman. Pittsburgh, Denver, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Miami. And Cincinnati, let's see, that's got to be the only, I mean, they're 20th against receivers. Other than that, like this is a tough stretch to wrap up the season. I mean, you've got like 3. I mean, Miami's number 5, Denver's number 3, and then Kansas City's dropped back to 11. But these are tough defenses against wide receivers. Pittsburgh twice in there, and they come in 8th against the position. So that's my biggest concern when it comes to Browns wide receivers. At some point, my prediction is still that Jameis Winston's going to come back to earth.
This week, probably.
Yeah, short week. Elijah Moore might be out for what it's worth. And this is just a bad stretch. He should have had like 2 picks against the Ravens. He had 3 against the Chargers, and he didn't even. He only had 13 fantasy points against the Chargers. He was fine this past weekend, but he also had a lost fumble in that game against the Ravens. I think Jameis is going to come back to earth at some point, but I hope I'm wrong. This is just a bad stretch of games. Good defenses, good pass defenses specifically. So we'll see. But getting back to the point, I would prefer to roster QJ. The Chargers are in a very interesting team. And like I said, they're going to play Baltimore, Atlanta. They get Tampa Bay in week 15. Kansas City, Denver, weeks 14 and 16, a little tough. New England, kind of there in the middle. But man, they really preserved Justin Herbert for this season. Like, we knew going into the year he was hurt, and he gets hurt again early in the season. Had no fantasy value. They're running the football a ton, and they've just unleashed Herbert over the past month. He looks good. So QJ Lad McConkey and our boy Will Dissly balling out.
They still need to run JK more. Okay,
they do.
Come on, guys.
Yeah. So, and I talked about this all week, right? If you're a J.K. Dobbins owner, the first 4 games of the season, Gus Edwards had double-digit touches in 2 of those games. And in the 2 games he had double digits, Dobbins had 20 or more fantasy points. In the next 2 weeks where Gus was healthy, they played the Steelers and the Chiefs. Wasn't really good for any running back, right? No. And then Gus Bus hit IR, and then he got 10 touches week 10. Everyone's like, can't start Dobbins. But what I said all week was, Gus Bus had 10 plus touches in the first 2 games of the season where Dobbins had 20 plus points. So I wouldn't freak out here. And Gus wasn't great against the Titans in week 10, sure. Or excuse me, Dobbins wasn't. But yeah, he balled out against the Bengals. So no fear. But the way that game started, Gus was like getting touches in the first quarter. They brought in Hassan Haskins at the goal line, and
the goal line situation, and then they like finally gave it to Dobbins, and he punched it in, and it was like, okay, you guys realize J.K. Dobbins is your best running back. Give him the ball in the red area. And then he caps all. He just finished the weekend for everybody.
Please just keep doing that. And I think that was a 4th down.
It might have been 3rd, but it was It was they'd run it twice prior and got nothing.
Yeah, it's like, just stick with this guy, right? But this is something that happens this time of year. Like, the Chargers are going to go to the playoffs, right? They're going to make the playoffs. So they're trying to spell a player who isn't a little bit injury prone too and keep him fresh. And you're going to see it as the season goes on. Cardinals are using Benson. We've seen Blake Corum get more touches. Like, you're going to see this a little bit. Although Rams, I don't know how close they are to the playoffs. We'll see.
They're close. They're right in the thick of it.
Yeah, I know they're in the thick of it. All right, Bryce Long. Sorry, I wanted to say Bryce Young, but he is elsewhere preparing to face the Chiefs defense. Anthony Richardson or Herbert rest of the season. Herbert easy. Herbert easy.
We can't trust Richardson, right? We can't trust him. Can't trust him.
Yeah, Richardson worth rostering again, I suppose.
Nope, I got rid of him. He's done. He's
dead
to me.
It is a bad. He's got an inconvenient bye week 14. That is not really a great schedule. Detroit, New England, Denver, Tennessee, all tough matchups. Then the Giants is like, I could see Richardson being like a championship winner this year. He sits at 44% rostered. Like, he's worth rostering if you're hurting, but Herbert easy on this question. Goof literally pulled out of the duality of man meme these past 2 weeks. Yeah. Goff, a lot of us a little worried about Goff going into the week. Like, I don't know how much the Lions are going to need to do. Then they have 3 rushing touchdowns of Gibbs and Monty to start the game. And it's like, oh, God, why did I start Goff? They're just going to run the clock out. And then Dan Campbell's like, no, sir, we're going to just, Brock Wright scores a touchdown, Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and somebody else in there.
Amon-Ra had 2.
Amon-Ra had 2. That's right. So, yeah, his best game of the season, 12.8 points in week 10, 9.6 in week 9. The problem with Goff is you just don't know when to call it. But he's a QB 10 on the season. He's going to be difficult to sit the way the Lions are playing right now. Got to be the best team in the league right now, right?
They're number 1 on the power rankings. That's for sure.
Yeah.
The problem is we do still worry about them against a good team.
Yeah,
and a great quarterback. Like the Lions have a very easy path to the Super Bowl because of the NFC quarterbacks, but can you win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff as your quarterback when you have a guy like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes sitting against him? But that doesn't matter. Fantasy, they're going to crush, and their schedule is not super difficult down the stretch either.
Yeah, they have some interesting matchups. Like Chicago's defense, still not bad. Green Bay's defense, not bad. They get Buffalo. They get San Fran, which could get a little spicy, but they kind of look like crap. But San Fran's defense has really improved. So,
except in the last 2 minutes of a game.
Yeah. Except when Geno Smith needs to run for a touchdown. But we'll see what happens, And they do get Minnesota week 18 as well.
Yeah. Well, that game either is going to mean everything or absolutely nothing.
Yeah. We'll see. All right. Should I drop Dowdle for Javonte? Pick your poison here. I think that Dowdle will still have respectable stat lines, like 10-ish points. But Houston's run defense has been great. But he's going to get Carolina and Tampa Bay, the Giants. There's some good matchups in here. But
Tampa's good run D.
They've fallen back surprisingly. They're back that they're 27th against running backs. Their defense is falling.
Well, they started really bad. Remember, they started awful, and then they kind of bounced back. And then
Javonte. Beginning of the week, I said it.
We called out the estimate crap, right?
Yeah, I talked about it a lot. Then I got to choose players for sneaky starts, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe this could happen. But I knew I should trust my gut on that one. Javonte gets the Raiders, the Browns, a bye week, the Colts, the Chargers, Cincy. It's not great. The Raiders is good. The Colts good. The rest of those matchups aren't great. I will say this much: the Broncos trending in a much better direction. So I think I'd rather roster a player on the Broncos offense. So I'll lean Javonte, but we'll just leave it at that. Rico will have some moments still, I think, especially with Ferguson going down, although it's just a concussion. But you should probably expect disappointment with both these situations. Kyler or Purdy this week? I will go Kyler. It's close. I like both, but Purdy's matchups.
And he's hurt.
Yeah, he's got his shoulder, throwing arm, shoulder is hurt, right? So, and then, Purdy's playing great. You got to hand it to him with what he's been given. He's just from a real life football perspective, you break it down. He's going to deserve that contract he's going to get, But I've been a Purdy believer since day one. You guys can go back. My most drafted quarterback last year, an Underdog. But nonetheless, the Packers, 8th fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks. The Seahawks are better than you might think. They're kind of in the middle, 16th. But I'm going Kyler. If I own Kyler, I'm just riding him till the season ends,
Especially off a bye. This is a great spot. They might have some crazy run design for him or some deep shot to MHJ for a touchdown.
And the schedule gets a lot better for the Cardinals, They've done a good game or a good job game planning, Chicago was disastrous for fantasy, but it was a great game plan, They just ran it down their throats. You look at some of the teams that he's underperformed against, like Buffalo, Detroit, Washington, Green Bay, Chicago. Like, these are good defenses for the most part. And at the same time, he had 20 plus points against the Chargers and the Dolphins. So you're kind of like, why can't that happen every week? But yeah, if I got Kyler, just give me Kyler.
Next week's going to be the interesting one for Kyler. Interested how he does against Minnesota.
Let's see. Should I drop Russ for Johnny Smith? I have Hawkinson, but I don't feel confident. I've been thinking about Hawkinson lately. I want to get your feedback here because I feel like if Hawk has another bad performance this week, he might be kind of droppable for me.
So it's interesting. Oliver's got a bad ankle. He rolled his ankle, so he's kind of up in the air. Oliver's been getting a lot of the share. Hawks only got 46% of the snaps, I think, since coming back. Now, the Colts game was kind of weird. He wasn't in the game a lot against Tennessee. He was in it a lot, obviously, against Jacksonville. I have to look what Chicago is, how they cover the tight ends and stuff, because I feel like they don't cover tight ends.
Let's see. I can give you their
where do they
ranking.
where do they rank in fantasy? Probably good after Kraft got 0 this week. It probably helped.
They're 13th against tight ends.
Okay, so they're kind of, slightly above average.
Sure.
So the game plan will dictate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do. The Vikings are just like atrocious to watch on offense. It like makes your eyes hurt. It's so boring. But they score. They move the football and score points, but it's just really boring to watch.
I actually didn't realize, because you're right, 45% of snaps against the Colts, which makes sense, but then 46% against the Jags, 48% against Tennessee. I guess my concern is, like, he had the big day against Jacksonville. They're one of the worst teams in the league, period. But
they're awful against tight ends.
Yeah. And then not so great in the other 2 games. So I'm a little worried if we see a bad trend against Chicago and Arizona the next 2 weeks. Like, what are we really going to hold on to Hawkinson in fantasy? I'll say this: I'd rather have Johnny Smith right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's the pass catcher too on the Dolphins.
Yeah, forget Waddle. Who's Waddle? Get rid of Waddle.
There's no reason to roster Jalen Waddle, and I've had Waddle as a sit for weeks. And people like, oh, trade for Waddle. You got to trade for Waddle now. This is the week to start Waddle. And I'm like, don't start Waddle, please. That's one of the things that I have done correctly this year on the channels. Advise against Waddle outside of the offseason. We did like him in draft season. But Waddle is 90% rostered. I don't think there's any reason to roster Waddle anymore on the season. Johnny Smith, however, like, I would rather flex Johnny Smith than Jalen Waddle, straight up. But Johnny Smith is just very involved in this offense and has a role every week. So I would rather have Johnny than Hawkinson, but it depends on who else you can drop, I guess. So we'll see. All right. In Savi, start Smith, BTJ, or Tillman? I mean, you guys aren't going to like my answer, but my answer is still Devonta Smith. I will start Devonta Smith every single week. I will roll with the punches. People asked me last week, should I drop Devonta Smith? Should I drop Terry McLaurin? The answer is no. But listen to the next 3 weeks for the Eagles, okay? They're at the Rams, Sunday Night Football. Then they're at the Ravens. Then they get Carolina at home. I mean, these are going to be 3 matchups where we're going to see involvement out of Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown. I mean, Brown's been fine, but his ceiling's been low. And now Carolina, that one might end up being a Saquon day. Let's be honest. But the Rams front 7, good. Much better against the run than they are against the pass. Same exact thing with Baltimore. So I would start Devonta Smith. Brian Thomas Jr. is on bye week, so please don't start him. Then Tillman, I think, will be okay. But it's a short week. It's a good pass defense. He's fine, but I don't know if he's going to be any better than he was this past week. So, just give me Devonta. I'm not giving up. Okay, this is Bryce's team considering trading for CMC. So Garrett Wilson, Marv, Cup, Neighbors, BTJ, Jennings. So you don't really need BTJ and Jennings because you're starting Wilson, Marv, Cup, Neighbors. Brees, A-Chain, Rico, Benson, Allen. You're going to keep Brees and A-Chain. You're going to get CMC, so it's going to turn to Wilson, Marv, Cup, Neighbors, CMC, Brees, A-Chain. I mean, yeah, I do this trade. This is acceptable. I mean, you're going to start on a good week, Wilson, Cup. I mean, you're actually going to have a problem because you're going to have Brees, A-Chain, CMC, and then you're still going to have 4 stud receivers. So that's a good problem, though. Yeah, I would do the trade, but I think Jennings is going to be a league winner. So, but you got all kinds of league winners here. Don't get rid of Neighbors if you own him.
Oh, we're back. Neighbor stock is back, baby.
Back. The matchups are still there, even if it's DeVito. But
I like DeVito way better than Daniel Jones. DeVito will throw the ball to him. He'll just say, screw it, throw it to Neighbors.
So, and I meant to look this up because I went through DeVito's games, some of his games from last year, which I was a DeVito. Like I started Tommy DeVito in Superflex Dynasty League last year. I rostered him, and it worked a little bit. But I'm trying to think of, like, I know Jalen Hyatt had a big game with him. It was week 12 against New England. But I feel like the receivers were kind of banged up at that time.
They also didn't have like real receivers last year.
Yeah, that's fair. Slayton had 2-3 good games with him. It looks like 10 plus points. Robinson was playing. Robinson had one. It was all over the place because these receivers were all over the place. But there were good stat lines for receivers with Tommy DeVito last year. So, all right. Kevin, Jones, JT, Jacobs, Reed, Jennings, JJ Flowers, MH. So we need 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex, he says. I'm starting Jacobs. I mean, Jacobs is just a start every week at this point, you know. I'm probably going to lean. Ooh, it's close with Jones and JT. But I think I'm leaning JT. Jones, the Bears are right there in the middle, 18th against the position. Those 2 are close. I kind of I don't want to read too much in the last week for JT, but it's a bad matchup this week. And what if Richardson does keep vulturing touchdowns? But I kind of always start JT, so I'll say Jacobs. And whoever you feel better about, Jones or JT. I think I lean Jones. I think I do. But it's tough to bench JT. I definitely start Jennings and JJ. I mean, I probably flex MH Jr., but I think Flowers will have a good week this week.
Those 2 are tough, Flowers and MHJ.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is you're going to have 2 very good wide receivers and a good flex no matter what. But those are some close calls there. So the Lions against running backs are 3rd. It's just a tough matchup. Then
they put teams so far behind. They just jump out and there you got to throw the football.
You know, A-Rich is going to attempt to get some of those rushing touchdowns in, if possible, that is. So I think I lean Aaron Jones. Jacobs had a good game last week against the Bears. So. If I can't get Javonte off waivers, would you all start Chubb or Dowdle?
Oh, God.
I think I'd start Dowdle. Chubb is another guy. I'm done with Chubb.
I can't play Chubb. I'm cutting Chubb too.
Yeah, I mean, last week was the chance for Nick Chubb.
Yeah,
but seriously, he's 88% rostered. Pittsburgh, Denver, Pittsburgh, KC, Cincy, Miami. This is an awful schedule.
He's just not healthy, guy. Next year, we'll all in on the Chubb stock again next year. Sure, he's just. But this is good. It's going to make him even better next year. Get the games in.
Yeah, they should just let Jerome Ford finish the season. I mean, But yeah, if he couldn't get it done against the Saints run defense, and I mean, I know the game script wasn't great, but I'd rather start Dowdle. But Dowdle didn't look so good. I mean, I know Houston's run defense is good, but they were trying to get the ball to him through the air and on the ground, and he just looked kind of crusty. Like they put Deuce Vaughn in a bit, and they put Zeke back in, and I was like, I mean, I know Zeke was towards the end of the game. The Cowboys just they were running plays with 7 seconds left, down 3 scores. I mean, what a game. Denver or Houston's defense this week? I do like both. Both made the must start video. I think I lean. I'll say this. I'll say Denver for a floor, Houston for a little sprinkle of upside. They had
we're gonna get another touchdown off of an offensive lineman fumbling.
2 fumbles on that play. That was crazy. So yeah, they were a start last week. They roll back into this week as a start, facing Will Levis. Then they get Mac Jones the next week before a bad schedule after the bye week: Miami, Kansas City, Baltimore. But they're a very solid start. I don't know they're gonna have 21 points, but I do like Denver. They bounced back, gave us some hope last week. 13 points on the road against Gardner Minshew. Then they get Winston the next week. They're going to be a solid start the next 2 weeks before they get a bye week in week 14. So I'll still say Denver for a floor, but the upside lies with Houston. Kyler, Darnold, Herbert. That is tough. Darnold been fine. I mean, he had the one bad game against the Jags of all teams, but fantasy wise, I think 17 or more points in every other game in the past 5 weeks, if I'm remembering correctly. But I think I go Herbert.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, prime
maybe.
time at home, better matchup. You could go Kyler. I mean,
I don't know. Baltimore's secondary looked really good against Pittsburgh, which was kind of weird. And we know, I like the Chargers, but those guys aren't great. I mean, Ladd McConkey is still a rookie, and that's Quentin Johnson is 2 catches a game, and one's a touchdown. So,
yeah, that does make if Russell Wilson, balled out like he should have, then we probably for sure say Herbert. But I also feel like it's kind of that divisional matchup effect. Steelers, Ravens,
yeah, I totally,
totally. I think the Commanders Cowboys game this week could end up being close. Call me crazy. It's just a weird thing, especially with those 2 divisions. This is a very close call. I'll say Herbert for a floor, Kyler for upside. I don't mind Darnold this week, but I think he's the odd man out with this bunch.
Yeah, against Chicago. In Chicago, I'm sure they'll break the sprinklers or something, and we won't be able to run.
Yeah, Chicago is such a tough team to look at. From a fantasy perspective, they have not been good. They're right there in the middle against the run, 18th. They're first against wide receivers, 13th against tight ends, so not bad. Then first against quarterbacks. But it doesn't feel that way. It just doesn't. So, yeah, I would leave Darnold out here, but you got 2 good options there. Henry or Zach Ertz. I like both this week. I liked both last week too. I think I lean Ertz because we do have the potential for a lot of points scored, and I think they're going to try and throw the football out this week and kind of get Jaden Reed back and rolling, or Jaden Daniels. Sorry.
We got to get it. We got to get it going. We got to get it going. Yeah. Washington. Cliff Kingsbury getting the stink on that he can't coach in the second half of the season.
Bo Nix outperforming my guy Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, 3-yard passes are really difficult.
Bo Nix balling out, man. I like both here, though. I do. And I've talked a lot about Henry lately. I think Henry's a lock for 10, 11, 12 points if he doesn't score. But he's got a tougher matchup against Miami.
It's so nice, though, that Drake May is a quarterback, guys. He will get him the football. It really does help when you have an actual quarterback throwing to whoever it is.
nice when you have a quarterback who needs a tight end as a security blanket,
Mhm.
and he can rely on that every week too. And also, it's nice when the wide receiver room makes no logical sense.
The wide receiver room is so bad. It's crazy.
It's Kendrick Bourne this week. It's Polk scores a touchdown the week before.
Where's KJ Osborne? Is he alive?
No, he's gone. But I did say one of my favorite calls last week, all week long. I said, if you need 10 points, you're hurting in the flex. Pop Douglas, I think we'll get you 10 points. I think he had 10.2 points. It's
There
like
you go.
perfect call. So, all right, let's see. What's up, Ace? Would y'all trade Jennings for Pollard? You got Monty and Pacheco? No, I'm not trading Jennings for Pollard. No.
But Pollard does have a good schedule down the stretch.
Yeah, I like Pollard. I do, but I like Jennings a lot more. Yeah, he gets Jacksonville twice. That's enough. You don't need to say.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some tough matchups in there too, but that's probably enough for me. Including week 17, he gets Jacksonville. So, I mean, it of course always depends on the roster here, and realistically, it's not awful, but
Jennings is Purdy's guy. Monty, and I mean, if Pacheco is healthy, that's a scary backfield right there.
Jennings, the wide receiver, 18. Pollard, the RB, 24. So it's not crazy far-fetched. Plus, once again, this schedule for the Niners gets, Green Bay, Buffalo, Chicago, Miami, week 16. Like, these are not great matchups. So, but he's going to get that volume. And they're probably going to be playing from behind the way they look right now. So, depending on roster, but my initial reactions, no. Oh, you got Devonta Smith, Puka, Pearsall, Douglas. No, I don't really. That doesn't really make me feel good. Devonta and Puka, fine. You'd be starting Devonta, Puka, Monty, Pacheco. I'd rather start with Pollard. I'd rather have Smith, Puka, Jennings, Monty, Pacheco. But it's going to take Pacheco, might be a couple weeks realistically before he's really. There's a serious injury he's coming off of. All right, who do you think will end up ranked higher at the end of the year between Mixon and Henry? I actually won't be surprised if it is Mixon. Because I think the schedule's slightly better, but Henry's 3 spots ahead of him. But Henry gets the Chargers, the Eagles, Giants is fine, then Pittsburgh and Houston. I mean, it's Giants the only good matchup in there. And he has his bye week left where Mixon does too the same week, but Mixon's got some tough matchups too. Actually, he basically gets Jacksonville. Tennessee, Jacksonville are fine. Miami's not bad. It's not great. They've improved. Kansas City,
Tennessee's pretty good against the run. Tennessee looked really good against the run this week against us. I know we're not a running juggernaut, but Tennessee, I don't know. Their numbers are so weird.
They have improved. You're correct. They moved up to 14. I thought they were still in the 20-ish area, but you're correct.
It's all touchdowns. They give they're number 1 in yards. They're top in yards. They don't give up any yards. They just give up touchdowns.
And the weird thing with the Texans, the Texans are already in the playoffs. I mean, they're already they play Tennessee, Jacksonville,
and they've already beat Indy twice. So
right?
He has to go past them.
I think they just have to beat Tennessee once, and they're locked in. They can lose to Miami, Kansas City, and Baltimore, and still make the playoffs, even if
win the division, no problem.
And if they beat Tennessee and Jacksonville before the bye week, I don't think they need to win another game the rest of the season. And that's a little tough stretch. I know Miami is but they got a good pass defense.
Mixon is so touchdown dependent.
Mixon?
Yeah. He's just I know Henry's going to probably chunk out 80 and a touchdown every week, even though it was only 60 this week against Pittsburgh, God forbid. But Mixon's I could see them not, I don't know. I kind of hate Houston's offense. I kind of hate it.
They are just feeding Mixon, and that third touchdown felt a little forced. I think Mixon really wanted.
They had to end that streak. They hadn't scored in the second half in 4 straight games. But he sold. He should have scored on the play before, and he kind of went.
Yeah, it's true. It's close, but Henry's got a little bit of a jump here. I mean, Mixon missed 3 games and basically 3.5, basically. But I don't know. He does play Jacksonville. That could really boost things. It's close. I'd probably still hand it to Henry since that's who I liked in the offseason. So,
The king.
Bearded Dabber, what's up? 7-4 in my leagues and in second place, but I want to win the rest of my league. I have JD as my QB1, Chase, JJ, Monty, and Kareem Hunt. Well, there are question marks here, but this feels like a statement, not a question. I mean, your team is stacked, but Kareem Hunt's obviously about to lose a lot of value. And JD5 has been a little worrisome, to say the least. So if you... Oh, here we go. All right, we'll get to your questions as they come up, but I mean, most leagues, first and second place get a bye week, so don't get too caught up in it. At the end of the day, all that matters is that you get a ticket to the chip. What's up, Tommy? How are you? Need a running back for this week. Wow.
Not Roshan.
Roshan Hill, Amir Abdullah.
Not Roshan.
Yeah, I feel like people are getting a little bit caught up in the Roshan.
They're playing the number one run defense in football. They're not.
Yeah.
Bears aren't running the ball.
And we talked about Roshan Johnson earlier in the season when he had these sporadic touchdowns, and then like he played Jacksonville in week 6 and did nothing. You know, it's very difficult to trust Roshan, and a lot of people are looking at the 10 touches this past week. And it's a perfect example: 10 touches in week 5, 2 touchdowns, 5 touches, 5 points the next week. So, and so Minnesota, from a fantasy perspective, is second. Chiefs are number 1.
Oh, it's killing me.
But it's basically the same thing, you know.
It's all Jahmyr Gibbs. It's all Jahmyr Gibbs' fault.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's look at the options. Like Roshan out of these 3, I mean, I might like him more than Amir Abdullah. Justice Hill, like I'd probably just swing on Justice Hill. You know, this is one of those games I feel like the Ravens are going to need to throw a little bit more, like last week. So 8 points, 7 points is realistic, unless of course he scores a touchdown. He only has double digits in games this year where he's caught 6 or more passes or has scored a touchdown. So he's kind of due for a touchdown. It's been like 5 or 6 weeks. So I just take a chance on Justice Hill. I know I talked about Amir Abdullah in the waiver video if White and Madison are out, but it's a true, like, you know, I try to include some players like for people in 16 team leagues and like deep dynasty form, you know, whatever. It's a true desperation. And only like, I don't want to pick up Amir Abdullah, you know, tomorrow. I want to wait till the end of the week.
Like and Sunday morning when both guys are out.
Yeah. And I think there's still a chance that either Madison or White play. So I will go Justice Hill. And this is another one. It boils down to who's the best offense here. It's the Ravens. So, what's up, Space Ghost? Flex Quinn Johnson or Allen? Quinn Johnson, no doubt. I mean, I was a little harsh on the Bears receivers in the start set video. The offense looked much better. They all had 8+ targets, I believe. I think DJ Moore had 6 or 7, but he had the best stat line fantasy wise. But like they spread the ball around. Even Komet had a little bit more involvement. Swift was fine. I just like, I would not roster Keenan Allen or Rome Odunze. Like I would never have the confidence to start them. You know, so I'm like at this point in the season, I'm just done. You know,
I will say it was all quick short throws, and Minnesota does not cover quick short throws, so they could have a huge high volume against them. I mean, Keenan Allen went for like 2 bills against them last year.
Yeah, and that's kind of the problem is like Keenan Allen could do something. Rome Odunze could do something. DJ Moore had like 12 or 13 fantasy points this past week. You know, it's like
the Bears are so due too. They should have beaten the Packers. They lost. Minnesota's won 2 in a row on the road. Like they're so due for a huge performance this week, I feel like.
Yeah. And Minnesota's giving up the 30th most points to wide receivers still. It feels like it's been a little bit better, but it hasn't been.
I mean, it was one play. It was one play the last of the last 3 weeks. It was a 98-yard touchdown reception this week. Otherwise, nothing again.
Yeah.
But that was the AFC South. They're terrible.
I would still go Quentin Johnston here for sure.
Automatic touch. Yeah, Ravens are 31st.
Yeah, Ravens.
Aren't they? They're 32nd.
Vikings are bad. Ravens are still worse. Yeah, the worst. So, okay, Jaden Daniels or Herbert. I mean, this could be a week that I think Washington could beat up on the Cowboys. I could also see that game being strange because I've watched a lot of Washington Dallas games over the years. Yeah, I'm going Herbert.
Daniels, like, he doesn't run anymore. He's got the bad ribs. Like, he's losing a lot of fantasy value because he doesn't run.
It's a great matchup for Daniels. I mean,
it is, and they had 10 days off, and they had 10 days off.
A better matchup once again for Herbert though by 2 spots. So, I mean, but you look at it too, like, not that he's a good comparison because he sucks, but Stroud only had 11 fantasy points, and Mixon. I mean, like, I feel like it's gonna be a huge B-Rob Eckler day. Yeah,
let's cook.
I mean, Mixon had 20 touches. Stroud did throw 34 times. And I know the Nico touchdown was called back, which screwed a ton of us, but
Play 1, 80 yards.
Thanks. But even then, so if he throws that touchdown, well,
I mean, that's a great. That was like a I mean, it was an 80-yard touchdown.
Probably close to 19 points, right?
Yeah.
Which by Stroud standards, that's fantastic, you know. Yeah. But and I think I go Herbert. I feel like he's just safer. But if you go Jaden Daniels, I think that's fine.
Both these teams will poach goal line touchdowns. Both these teams will run the football inside the 10.
Yeah. It's definitely close. Tommy started out 0-5 in Catch Fam 2, won 6 straight. Uh-oh, you're ahead of me and Pete. Uh-oh. Got some comp here.
I'm pretty sure that's a team I hate, so.
Am I good in that league? I don't know off the top of my head here. Oh God, I got Foster's still complaining about having no wide receivers and is the best team in the league. Yeah, I'm number 6. Pete's number 7. Ha. I'm ahead of you, Pete.
I think that's the one league I lost in this week. It is the one league I lost in this week.
Yeah, you lost 10 points. Close one.
Well, I mean, I've got to start Kareem Hunt over here, and
that's a good comeback, Tommy. You should be a little proud of that. 0-5, 6 straight. That's why you keep setting those lineups. All right, Armando, what's up? Who to start? Myers, QJ, Warren. It's QJ. It's QJ all day long. Been saying it for weeks. Other league, Judy or QJ. Now, Judy, I know Judy had the big game, but the Steelers are,
catch. It was one catch for Judy.
Yeah. And the Saints. So let's see here. The Saints are 26 against wide receivers. So the Steelers are 8th. So I have a bad feeling about the Browns this week. I think
this is the Winston week. This is 5 interception week. I'm telling you. I agree. This is the Winston week.
Yeah, I've been worried about this since he came back in. And we kind of saw it against the Chargers. Like, he did not have a good game against the Chargers. And people I was low on Winston this past week, and it worked out. But
I mean, I was floored when I saw his stat line and then only scored 14 points. I was like, he threw for 400 yards basically and didn't turn the ball over and had 2 touchdowns. Okay. What?
That's gonna be the really interesting thing, is that they can't throw against the Steelers. They don't have a run game. And they're not gonna be able to run against the Steelers. So it's gonna be a little worrisome. But Judy, Moore, if he plays, Tillman, like, they're all flexible, but I'm not going out of my way to flex them. Taysom, Johnny, McBride. Well, Taysom's on bye week. Johnny's fine, but if you own McBride, like, just start McBride. Noah, what's up? We got Lamar, A-Chain, Bijan, Mixon, CD, Amon-Ra, London, McBride. Okay. Got offered Mixon for AJ. I mean, sure. Like, I mean, oh wait, you're gonna receive AJ? No, keep Mixon.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I like AJ a lot, and I'm not like low. Some people are worried about him, but no, I mean, A-Chain, Bijan, Mixon, like, yeah, you're starting 2 and you're flexing 1 every week, and then you're starting Amon-Ra, then
London
like,
or CD, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, London and CD will be fine, especially with this roster. You got McBride? No. This is it. 8-team league? If it's not, then you're killing it. But no, you're good, bro. Don't do that trade. Jason, 1 to flex. Pacheco, Tillman, Otton, Jones, JMO. First time Pacheco has come up tonight. So talked about this in the start set video. I don't think Pacheco is just to sit and forget, even if he's playing the Panthers this week. Very startable, but like he is not more than likely going to be super necessary. But then the argument is like maybe he doesn't need a lot of volume because it is the Panthers. Like, but I think they're going to still use Hunt. And I've talked about this for a few weeks. Like, and I know everyone knows they're still going to use Hunt, but it's like, especially these first
few games, yeah.
Yeah, like they're going to get Pacheco back into the swing of things. And I'm just not going out of my way to start Pacheco just because he's playing Carolina. He's still startable, don't get me wrong, but I mean, I kind of gravitate towards Aaron Jones here, but I don't know, man. I think Cam Akers might be taking over that backfield. So
yeah, it just I don't know what we're gonna do running the ball. We'd look weird.
Yeah.
Chicago's good.
I might lean JMO, but you never know with JMO. I mean, I liked him last week, but I liked everyone against the Jags.
Everybody likes everybody against the Jags.
Yeah. The Colts are 19th against receivers. I think Otton's very like this is a tough call. Otton's very startable, even as a flex. He's the one tight end. I think I said in the video that I was like, you're gonna flex a tight end this week. It's Otton. I think I would personally start JMO. Like I'd just risk it here. But you got a couple options here for sure. That's a tough one. All right, Frizzle, thank you for the $2 dono. Would you drop Leggett for Elijah Pierce or Devon Vele? No. Elijah Moore's close, but like if he doesn't play and then they get smacked by Pittsburgh, or if they do play, and like, can you really rely on Elijah Moore? I don't know. And like the schedule's so bad. No, I don't. Especially like my initial thought was maybe wait and see like Adam Thielen coming back and what the volume looks like. But like it's 1 or 2 on this roster for sure. I think I just hold. Devon Vele has popped up earlier in the season. He's not consistent. And every Broncos wide receiver scored this past week, except Cortland Sutton. So I wouldn't read too much into that. They just torched Atlanta completely. Difficult. I mean, bad secondary and difficult to travel all the way to Denver. We luckily called that on the week 2, but I thought it'd all go to Cortland Sutton. So no, it's a good question here, but I'd stay put with Leggett. If I were to pick up one, it would be Elijah Moore, but
I think I would. Just roll with Leggett.
Yeah. I'd keep Leggett. Thank you again for the super chat. Let us know if you need anything else. Guys, while you are listening in, hit the like button. I don't have a poll up, so I don't have a reminder for you guys to hit the like, but thank you guys for hanging out and keep the questions coming. All right, Andrea, how are you? Good to see you. Big Lou, Richardson, Levis, or Jameis and a 2 QB starting Kyler. I would start Richardson here. I just risk it. I think he's the best upside. I don't like Jameis's matchup. Levis has been better. But is he startable against Houston? Divisional games get a little weird. I would start Richardson if it was my lineup. Jennings or Hopkins, my wide receiver 2. Jennings for sure. Jennings for sure. Allen on bye. Who to pick up? May, Caleb, Darnold.
Ooh.
Whew. I might go Drake May here. But I don't like his matchup.
No, it's not a great.
I don't like any matchup here. The best matchup is Caleb.
But he doesn't have an offensive line. That could be a problem.
Yeah, I know some people are like kind of back in on Caleb this week. I'm not.
It's a toss. Like it's truly a 50-50. Like it could be another 9 sack day for Caleb, or it could be a nice day.
I mean, the scheming is going to be better. The scheming by Shane Waldron was a mess, but
could be worse. That's for sure.
Yeah. This is such a they have a tough stretch. Minnesota, Detroit, San Fran, Minnesota, Detroit, Seattle, like Green Bay in week 18. I feel like this could be another 9-point day for Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I can see that too. He could throw a couple picks. The Bears defense feast on picks.
Yeah, or a good 18-point day, you know? I mean, he's been the best quarterback on the season here, but yeah, the matchups make this one tough.
Darnold is coming off his best game of the year.
I probably gravitate towards the best offense and just go Sam Darnold. But
Drake may fun though. Drake may a fun start if you want to have fun.
Sure. It's definitely a tough call though. I think I'd go Darnold, but you could be very disappointed really by starting any of these guys. That's a tough one, Andrew. Big Loose. Thinking of starting Ramondre over JT. Yeah, I mean, Stevenson is fine. 12 or more points in 3 of the last 4 matchups.
This feels like an overthink. This feels
I'm like,
just play JT.
Yeah, it is. It's just tough with JT. He's performed really well.
He had a bad week against a bad run defense is the problem.
Yeah, and he's performed well against some really good run defenses. But Detroit is just kind of they're easy to fear. But I think I agree. I think if I own JT, I would personally just roll with JT. I mean, I'll say this: I feel like the floor between JT and Ramondre is not that far off, but the ceiling with JT is higher. But
yeah, way higher.
Hey, like I always say, trust your gut. Lions defense or Bucks defense this week? Probably the Bucks, but I had both in the video. But I don't know. I actually feel a little bit less confident in the Bucks with Tommy DeVito at quarterback. The Bucks are sneaky. They got a great rest of season schedule. I know some people are going to start the Lions this week and hope that Richardson bites the dust again. But
yeah, that's a weird one though. They lost Anzalone in the middle of that defense, and I don't know if that's gonna be. He's kind of their crazy make things happen guy. That could hurt them a little bit.
I'll say this. I talked about the Lions at the beginning of the video, going through the schedule for the defense video, but they weren't one of my teams, and the Bucks were a team. So I'll go with the Bucks, but they still suck. They just have really good matchups. So they have a lot of upside. So I'll go Bucks, but Lions are maybe a safer play, less risk. All right, Frizzle, thank you again for another super chat. Hold Estime or drop for Roshan, Ray Davis, or Amir Abdullah. I mean, I think we're in handcuff territory here. you could really argue the standalone value between all of these players except Abdullah, because he's not going to be anything once White and Madison are healthy, if they ever are. I mean, I'll say this: I would want to roster Ray Davis the most because he's the best handcuff. Like, we know what he's going to do if Cook misses time again. We've seen it.
And he still gets some touches when he doesn't.
Yeah.
And he's a big home run threat guy.
Yeah. Very hard to call when he is going to have value in the games that Cook is healthy. But he's also part of the best offense here easily. So I would prefer to roster Ray Davis here. But like, if you need to start someone this week, I mean, then again, like, you're anyone's guess here, you know? So I'd probably just shoot for Ray Davis. Sport Dog, what's up? I picked up Herbert for week 11 and benched Love. Love's schedule looks terrible where Herbert looks great. I can pick up Disley, Johnston, or Dobbins. Well, they're all good options, but I'm probably getting Dobbins if he's out there. But I do like QJ and I do like Disley. Are you dropping Jordan Love, though? Jordan Love can put up fantasy points against good defenses. Is like, he's a little sneaky. I mean, he put up 21 points against Chicago. Like, that's nothing to sneeze at. He can also
do nothing and get hurt and just be bad.
That's the thing, is it's hard to look at his two bad performances because he's hurt. But let's see: San Fran, Miami, Detroit, Seattle, New Orleans, Minnesota. It is a tough stretch here. But I feel like Love, Herbert, like, you're good the rest of the season. But if players like Dobbins and QJ are out there, I'm probably going after one of those guys if I can. But if you drop Love, you'll probably lose him. Niners or Chiefs this week. 2 points per sack. So I talked about this in the defense video. I feel like a lot of people are just going to start the Chiefs defense because they're playing the Panthers, which I get it. But they are still an awful defense in fantasy.
Yeah, fantasy defense. They don't turn people over. Yeah, they don't turn people over.
I've said it all season long. And I know this is why I talked about in the video. Like, and then they played the Raiders in week 13. For context, the last time they played the Raiders, they had 8 points. So they have 6 picks and 6 forced fumbles and 19 sacks on the season. So they're way behind the pace they were on last year. Last year, they were much better defensively. In the previous 2 years, they were top 10. Last year, they were defense 15. They're like a team that you could stream against bad offenses too. Nonetheless, like, I talked about in the video, like, they're fine to start. Like, I think they'll have a good floor. They have double digits once on the season, you know. But with all that being said, like, the Niners have been better, but they haven't been great. Double digits 3 times. 8 or less points in every game since week 6. They have 11 picks, 11 forced fumbles, 4 fumble recoveries, 26 sacks. So they're better in those margins. But they're going up against Green Bay. Like, it's not a great matchup here. And they're on the road, and they're on the road again next week against Buffalo. So I guess I'll say this: a floor for if you start Kansas City, upside if you start the Niners. So whatever you feel like you need, but they're not my favorite. Points per sack, maybe the Chiefs. Chris Jones against the Panthers, because Bosa is probably going to play, but he's hurt. So we'll find out. Minnesota or Tampa Bay this weekend. Minnesota. If you own I'm tired of saying it. You own the Vikings defense, just start them. Okay. Keep rolling.
They at least sack the quarterback and they force turnovers. They may give up 30 points, but
yeah. I mean, the double, like, they have the best chance for double digits every week, even if the ceiling is low. But they are holding that defense number 1 spot firmly. Single digits twice and almost just once. I mean, 9 points against Green Bay, and they probably let up a little bit too much at the end of that game. I
Yeah.
get it. The Rams game was bad, but it's a short week. Like it happens.
After playing the Lions,
Yeah.
just kind of.
But after giving up 391 yards to the Lions and still having 14 fantasy points, so Chicago.
The numbers are ridiculous. Blake Cashman, their middle linebacker, was out for the Lions, Rams, and Colts game, and the numbers with him in the lineup versus him out of the lineup are ridiculous. Like they're so much better when he's in there, and he's healthy now, so they aren't going to give up those guys. Like they just don't give up those garbage points and yards anymore.
Yeah, and I think people are looking at the matchup, like the Bears improving this past week. So be it. I mean, to be fair, Caleb Williams doesn't have a lot of turnovers on the season. Tampa Bay's got plenty of upside this week, but I'm going Minnesota. I'm playing it safe here. All right, JD5 or Kyler? Kyler. But if Kyler for a floor, JD5 for upside. All right. Let me get to the super chats. Thank you for those. You guys coming in here. Super chats. Frizzle. I actually have to start either Estime or Benson this week. Thinking I start Benson and drop Estime for Davis. I mean, it's difficult to give advice in this type of situation. Like, your guys' guess is as good as ours, and I won't lie to you. Benson has double digits in 2 straight games. For what it's worth, they're getting him more involved. They're trying to spell Connor a little bit. It feels like he's got the matchup, so I'll agree with this. Seahawks 23rd against the position. I mean, the Raiders are 26 against the position, but at least we have some concrete starts, so to speak, out of Benson compared to Estime. Like when Estime got 14 touches, he didn't have 5 fantasy points. So sure, I will agree with this. And I would, like I said, I'd rather own Davis than Estime. So yeah, I'd go with this plan. Thank you again for the super chat and hope it works out. I mean, that's tough, even a 14 teamer. I mean, I'm in a 16 teamer and I have at least A-Chain, Chuba, and Dowdle. Like, I mean, this is a tough situation to be in. All right, Jamie, also the super chat. Thank you for the dono. Wait. P/U. What does P/U mean? Quinn Johnston or Hopkins off waiver wire for flex, or just play Eckler? Well, I do think that Eckler is a very good start this week. I would prefer to get Quinn Johnston compared to Hopkins. I haven't really been on I got a lot of heat because I was calling Hopkins a flex after he had the big game against Tampa Bay and nothing more than a flex. And he's barely been a flex the past couple of weeks. I'd rather get Johnston, but I think Eckler versus Johnston's very close. Yeah, one of the worst run defenses, one of the worst pass defenses. PU means pick up. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you, Tommy, for translating. I was waiting. I was checking the bottom of the chat. I was like, somebody tell me. I was thinking like points under. Like I was thinking
of Joe Dirt.
There you go, Joe Dirt. Yeah, where's Ghost Hunter at? Yeah, I mean that's a tough call, but I would rather have Quinn Johnston. I think Johnston or Eckler very strong starts this week. We got Tua, Gibbs, Bucky, Evans, Jennings, Bowers, Broncos with Myers and Texans. So lineup looks good. I think Tua can have another nice week this week, like last week. Be good. Get Evans back. Gibbs, Bucky's good. Jennings good. Bowers, say no more. Broncos should have another good week. Myers had a good week this past week. Oh, wait, I'm thinking of, sorry, Jacoby Myers. Okay. I was thinking of Jason Myers. So I thought that was your kicker.
We're going kickers, baby.
Yeah.
Hey.
I saw defense, then a Myers. So
that's for tomorrow morning, guys. Or tomorrow
yeah.
guys.
I mean, your lineup's very solid, so you could really go either way with this flex option here. I'll say Eckler, maybe a safer floor. Johnston, a little bit more risk because the volume's been low, but he's got nice upside due to the matchup. So I will say if you're going to pick up a player between Quinn Johnston and Hopkins, I still prefer Quinn Johnston though. But lineup looks good, so I wouldn't worry too much about this. Thank you guys for the super chats. If you need anything else, please let us know. I'm trying to get through all the questions here for you guys. We're making okay progress. All right, Jason, pick one to flex. Jones, Pacheco, Jennings, Tillman, Otten, J-Mo, Quinn Johnston. I really like Quinn Johnston this week.
Yeah, we're going QJ. It's like QJ has been the default answer.
But it's Jennings. It's got to be Jennings.
It's Jennings, yeah.
It's Jennings. But there's good. I mean, J-Mo I like. Otten's fine. Pacheco, Jones. Like, there's options here. But if I got Jennings, keep rolling with Jennings. What's up, GT Sport? Downs, Eckler, Tillman. I talked a lot about Downs last week. A lot of questions, and I just kept defaulting to Downs. Like, he's a safe 12-ish points. I'll say Downs for a floor, but Eckler for upside. And I think Eckler is probably going to have a double-digit game this week. So, what do you have? 88 receiving yards last week.
Yeah, he's gonna catch 1 million passes. I think this week.
It's probably not as good of a game script this week. But
it's always a good
like
game
Eckler.
script against Dallas. It's always a good game script.
I mean, for what it's worth, it took Houston a while to pull ahead in that game. Like, I was watching that. I was talking to some of the buddies, and like they're like,
"Well,
Cowboys."
If anybody knows that Dallas offense with Cooper Rush, it's going to be Dan Quinn. So they're not moving the football against Washington.
That is a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah,
that is a good point.
And they're going to want to pour it on. He's going to want to pour it on.
That is a good point. I hadn't thought of that. And that makes me like. I chose the Commanders as one of my favorite streaming options. That makes me like that more because you're completely right. All right, I have Rico Dowdle, but his team is really struggling. No kidding. Should I drop him for Dobbins in a heartbeat? In a heartbeat. Do it right now. Bypass your league settings. Tell the commissioner to get it done tonight. In order, who is most droppable? Mostert, Tajay, McMillan. Probably this order.
Yeah.
Mostert just not involved. He's hurt. It's not there. It's not there. Tajay has 3 injuries on the season now. McMillan might be better with Evans on the field. He's also missed time as of late. So these are all droppable players, but I would at least hold out and see if McMillan improves with Evans on the field. Hawkinson and Njoku or Disley. I probably just start Disley. I do like Njoku, but it's a short week, and the Browns could struggle. It is a good matchup, though. The Steelers, that's one place they've been a little washy. So, but yeah, I got Disley. Like, let's keep firing him up. We like the Chargers right now, apparently. At least I do.
Yeah. Right. Bolt up. Let's go. Bolt up.
How do you not like watching Harbaugh on pregame warm-ups?
Catching the football, wearing the cleats, wearing the gloves. They also didn't Charger. Like, the Chargers are a real team now. Yeah. They didn't blow it against the Bengals.
Yeah. What's y'all's opinion on Cardinals defense for the playoffs? Love them. Also this week, Commanders, Chiefs, Bucks. I like the Commanders this week. Yeah. I like the Cardinals a lot for the playoffs. The Cardinals and the Bucks are the 2 teams that I've talked about for 2 weeks now. If you are looking at matchups for the playoffs, they have some of the best overall matchups. The Bucks, rest of the season, are super strong. But the Cardinals, Patriots. So Drake May, Bryce Young, and then the Rams, which is not great, but
they housed them the first time. They destroyed them.
12 points the last time they played them. But Cup and Puka out week 2? Or maybe Cup
No,
played.
I think Cup played and he got hurt in that
That's
game.
right.
Maybe, yeah, he got hurt in that game.
But still, I mean,
It's different. It's in LA. The Cardinals
Yeah,
defense
yeah.
has been great at home. They're not as good on the road.
and it still feels like there's some turnover potential with, like, are we gonna get the Stafford that we got against the Rams, or I mean against the Dolphins, or against the Patriots? It's tough here. So I like them, but this week I'm rolling with the Commanders. I do like the Bucks too. Some good options this week. Trying to trade away Taysom Hill, who's a good running back. I should trade for. Thanks, Sleepy, for loving the streams. I mean, what are you really going to be able to trade Taysom Hill for? Like, do you really got a sucker in your league? Like, you got a sucker, and then you should get a good running back here. But the problem is, I've said it all year long when it comes to trades. Running backs have been so good this year. It's really hard to gauge who and when to trade for. I mean, like, I think Dobbins would be a good target, because people are still a little bit worried about him. I think Rashad White or Bucky Irving, really good targets because they're coming off a bye week, so their perceived value's lower. They both have great playoff schedules and really good schedules rest of the season. But, like, are you really going to get that done? I don't know. Najee Harris, like, ceiling's not high, but the floor is there. Eckler, because he's an RB2, a little bit inconsistent. Like, I don't even know if you'll get any of those done though. You have to find like a tight end needy team. Like, that's a hard one to say. Mateo, what's going on? Thank you God for Taysom Hill. Yeah, either love Hill or hate him this week, or hate yourself for benching him. Start Love or Russ. Probably start Love. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about Russell Wilson again on the channel. So at least I mentioned Bo Nix and Herbert last week a lot too. And in terms of Pat Freiermuth, at least I mentioned Will Dissly and Hunter Henry. Like, those are my 3 at each position for streaming. So, and everybody's talked about Russ and Freiermuth last week. But it's a bad matchup for Russ this week. It's a short week. I'd go Love. Pick up J-Mo or Quentin.
Both, kind of. I kind of want both these guys.
Yeah. Put in a waiver for both. I mean, like, they both deserve to be rostered. So you can't really go wrong. And plus, yeah, it's kind of like low volume for both guys, high upside, touchdown upside. So both offenses are humming. I mean, you can't go wrong here. Both are good pickups. QJ's still more of a floor, and J-Mo's more of like that upside boomer bust for what it's worth. Ridley, Downs, Myers, Downs. But I do still like Ridley. I mean, he had the touchdown call back. I still think Ridley is a good start. Texans, very poor against wide receivers, but the Lions 6 spots back. They're even worse. So give me Downs, but I do like Ridley. Not going Myers. Barbara needs a flex. Audric Estime. Benson, Pittman, Fergie. I'm not touching Ferguson anymore. I go Pittman, honestly. I know it wasn't great. It's half PPR, so that's worrisome. But 9.8 points in PPR. It's a good matchup. He's kind of like, the thing with Pittman is it's like fluctuates. So he's coming off a bad week. Maybe it's a good week this week. I think I'd start Pittman, but if it's not Pittman, it's Benson. I don't want to start the other 2. Is Chase McLaughlin a good option this week? I would say so off the top of my head. Like, he's been pretty solid, right? He's like a top. Is he top 10?
Yeah. I have to look. Chase McLaughlin's been very good this year. He's been very good.
Yeah. Here we go. Yeah, kicker 11 coming off the bye week. So probably good against the Giants. Pete's kicker video will drop tomorrow. I haven't broken down any kickers on the week yet.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
I have the list. I have the list somewhere. Secret spot. It's in the safe.
I started the Vikings kicker in my 16-team league last week.
Warned everybody, don't do it.
Yeah. I took a screenshot. It was before your video came out. Took a screenshot of all available kickers, and I meant to send it to you and ask. And then I forgot. And then I just started. And I would have lost anyways. But anyway, I thought about that later in the week.
Who did I? McPherson killed me. Like, I really liked McPherson. All he has to do is make those damn kicks. Like, he got the opportunities. I thought Boswell, I loved Boswell. I said Boswell was going to have a great week. I put him in my must. Like, I upgraded him to just to start him every week, and he paid off massive for everybody.
Yeah. Once again, J-Lo or Russ? I'm going J-Lo. Second time we got that. Hit the like button or a piece of sheet metal will fall out of your roof.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, if I was there and I saw that, I would have like weighed my options. Like, maybe I'll stand up like, oh, my shoulder get taken out. Jerry's paying for me for the rest of my life.
And I mean, they're really lucky that didn't hit. That could have decapitated someone straight up, dude.
That was a big piece of metal.
I know. And it came pretty close. But yeah, if I was anywhere near it, I think I would have just fallen over, like, and claimed,
the sun. It reflected off the sun.
Yeah, just something, The best snippet of the Cowboys game was a picture of Jerry Jones where you can see the reflection, and I guess it's not from the sun, but it looks like it's from the sun right behind him. But I guess it was closed last night and at night, but. Even though it wasn't the sun, everyone was saying, it was the sun. Yeah. Vikings defense, good option rest of the season. Yes.
Tough schedule, but yeah.
Yeah. But they played well against good offenses. So until it's one of these things, like until we see it start to wind down, like you just keep rolling.
The best thing is like they play Atlanta. They play Chicago twice, Atlanta, and Seattle. Those are bad offensive lines. They will feast on bad offensive lines.
Yeah. I got no issues with the Vikings. Njoku or Disley this week? I'll go Disley. Short week for Njoku. It's a good matchup, but I think he's banged up. I might be wrong. Might have to play Deontay Johnson. No, you don't have to. There's somebody else. There's somebody.
Like, I forgot is he even on the Raven? Like, what is happening? He was like good this year. This was the same season. He was good in Carolina.
I don't understand it. I mean, I just put up the first league. This is a 3 wide receiver league I'm in. So there's slim options. I'd rather start Kayshon Boutte. I'd rather start Sterling Shepard, Devon Vele, Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah.
Like I would Odell Beckham, like Marvin Mims. Like Troy Franklin, like I'd take a shot. Jalen Naylor, like he might catch a touchdown.
No, he's bad too.
He's bad, but I would rather
going KJ Osborne status over here.
Deontay has 1.6 points in 3 straight games. And it's not a good matchup this week or next. I mean, maybe after the bye week, like he's part of the team, but he was on the field for 18% of snaps in a very competitive game script this past week. 8% of snaps a week before in another competitive game script, and 30% in his first game with the team, but did nothing. So you don't need, I promise you, there's got to be somebody. Like, even if it's 2 points, I'd rather get 2 points than start Deontay Johnson. All right, Eric's 8-3. Do I trade Henry and Zay for Brees, London, and Bowers? I'm starting Anthony Richardson, A-Chain, Henry, Nico, Zay, Taysom, Connor. Nope. I mean, this is close because I really like Brees through the playoffs, but I don't think I'd do it. I mean, I'd rather have London than Zay. I'll say that. And Bowers is a really nice touch. He's going to be way more consistent than Taysom. I just have such an, I feel like a big part of why you're 8-3 is because you have Derrick Henry. But if you want to do this trade, I'm not going to fault you for it. And I talked about Brees a ton the past couple of weeks. I got so many comments because he's in every trade video for the past 3 weeks. And everyone's like, no, He sucks, and then he has 31 points before the bye. But I mean, Brees's playoff, his rest of the season schedule: Seattle, Miami, Jacksonville, Rams, Buffalo is very strong. He is the RB10. You could do it. But if you, I mean, Derrick Henry, I mean, you lose him, you lose him. So that's, I mean, London, you'd have Anthony Richardson, A-Chain, Hall, Nico, London, Bowers. Like, I do think it improves your overall roster than Connor in the flex. It's close. I mean, what do you think, Eric? Let me know what you think of the trade. Mason is a holder drop. He could just drop. I mean, he's a handcuff. You want to roster a handcuff? That's fine. But like, you're not starting Mason unless CMC goes down. This period. Juan, Chuba, White, Tracy. Ooh, I like all of these guys this week. Ooh. You can't go wrong, but I feel like you have to start. The worst matchup is Chuba's. I go White and Tracy. Call me crazy. I was about to say, I feel like you have to start Chuba no matter what.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's a really bad matchup.
Fewest fantasy points, right next to the cheat or next to the Vikings. And Jonathan Brooks is going to play.
Yeah,
not that it matters.
Yeah, another one of those.
Yeah, not gonna matter in my opinion. I mean, you can't really go wrong, but if we're gonna break it down, since they're all startable, the worst matchup is Chuba. Zach Ertz or Johnny Smith asks Jacob. I mean, you can't really go wrong here either. And they're both kind of like, they're literally both the pass catcher 2 on their team if we're excluding Eckler and A-Chain, you know? I feel like Ertz is a little bit safer. They're both coming off of, like, I think literally their best weeks on the season. I know Ertz is. They don't. So the Patriots are 11th against the position. And the Cowboys are 15th. So it's like, I can't really break it down by position here. I think I go Ertz, but it's super close. I think it's the floor and ceiling's like not far apart here. Trust your gut on it. It's a good start either way. Is trading away Hill for Chubb? I'd rather have Hill.
Yeah. Chubb is never going to have a 30-point game. Taysom Hill might have another 30-point game. Yeah. That's simple.
And overall, like, Hill will have more double-digit games this year than Chubb. Chubb's
unless it's like a dynasty league or something, then maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Even then, like,
Taysom Hill's like 50 years old. Okay, I don't think people realize how old Taysom Hill is.
How old is this?
I want to tell you, I think he's like 35.
34.
There you go. He's old. He's
how old is
BYU guy.
Chubb is 28. So yeah, that's a good point. I mean, a lot of dynasty leagues are tight end premium, but that doesn't really matter for Hill because he doesn't really catch a lot of passes. He just does these
running back. Yeah, plays quarterback, running back.
Yeah, he's Swiss Army man. But yeah, for right now, I'd rather have Hill. I just, like we said earlier, you can drop Chubb. Diego, what's up? CMC, Connor, Demont, Jacob, start 3. I mean, these are all startable players every week. I mean, you can't go wrong here, but let me see. So Monty gets the Colts. They're 24th against the position. Connor gets the Seahawks. They're 23rd. Jacobs gets the Niners. They're 15th. And then Seattle is 23rd against the... No, wait. I'm sorry. Green Bay is 17th. So the worst matchup here lies with Jacobs. So, and I think Jacobs is still a very good start.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a good problem to have. I mean, I'd be looking at this all week. I might bench Jacobs just due to matchup because you can't go wrong here.
I mean, you can go wrong, but you're probably not going to go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, what's the point differential really going to be unless you get just like a massive?
Yeah, someone has a dud.
Yeah. Searching for an argument, and I don't have one. These are all good starts. Don't overthink it. You're going to have a good start no matter what you do. Allen on bye. Who should I pick up? Tua or May, Levis, Gino? I go Tua. It's a good matchup. I'll go Tua. He had a good game last week. J-Lo or A-Rich? Asked Joseph. J-Lo. If you want to get risky.
Yeah, like if you need a monster day, A-Rich could do it.
Yeah, like let's say you play Pickens and he has a big Thursday night game or something along those lines. But I'd probably just start J-Lo. Have guys on bye week, need one wide receiver and a flex. Lockett, McMillan, Spears, Mostert. I just start Lockett. He's really bad this past week, but he has the best potential for double digits out of this bunch. Need a QB to stream. We got Herbert, Nix, Gino. Whew.
All good streams. Yeah.
Put them in this exact order: Herbert, Nix, Gino. But I'd be going after Herbert for sure, and I like Nix a lot too.
Yeah, me too.
Is Waddle droppable in a 10 team? Waddle is droppable in all formats except for Dynasty and 16 teams. Like maybe a 14 teamer, I'd hold on to him. 10 team, yes, he should be off your roster. Should I trade DK for Evans? This is a wash for me. But JSN is kind of coming on. But I don't know. It's still basically a wash. Are we worried about Evans? Like hamstring? I don't think I am.
Yeah, but I mean, not really. But
he just should have never played against Tampa Bay. It's a wash. Whoever you prefer is fine. Should I trade away Wilson for Pickens in a keeper league? Meh. Maybe it depends. Like it's very close, but I feel like next year I'd rather have the ability to have Wilson over Pickens because I don't quite know what the quarterback situation is going to be for either team, but Pickens needs like a specific type of quarterback to produce on a regular basis. And
Wilson's still good.
Wilson can produce no matter what. The ceiling might be lower, but the consistency will be fine.
And you're trading away Wilson at his lowest and Pickens kind of towards his highest.
Right now. Yeah, it's close. Like, you want to do it, sure, but if you're making a run right now, then who cares about next year? You can figure it out next year and then get Pickens. And I'm still very high on Wilson. He's fine, but Pickens feels a little bit like he's got a little bit more upside. But both are very good. I'm not down on Wilson. Should I pick someone off waiver or start Puka? You should start Puka. But he have 18 points last week, or
yeah, he had north of 20 last week.
Yeah, I mean he had a huge week. 25, 18 was the week before. So
Puka's been great since coming back. He had one bad game that he got thrown out of for throwing a punch in quotation marks.
Yeah, he was kind of playing bad in that game, but
we don't need to talk about that, okay? Puka's been fantastic.
He has, but I will say it's okay to be a little worried this week against the Eagles because this secondary is
exciting whites in the secondary.
And they are balling, dude. Like they are no joke. I still left Puka and Kupp in the start category.
Those are two real wide receivers though. Like
yeah.
It's going to be their work's going to be cut out for them. Those are professional wide receivers right there.
It's going to be we got two whites versus two whites. I guess Puka's not
Puka
Yeah.
is Polynesian,
Yeah.
Hawaiian. I don't know.
So
From the
sorry.
island. It's from the
If that's
islands.
offensive, but he.
No, it's just funny,
Yeah.
guy. Come on,
Yeah.
it's funny.
Yeah.
It's all funny. You guys saw the shirts for the Eagles secondary.
Yeah.
You saw what
Yeah.
they were wearing.
Yeah. But I have a tough time benching Puka Nakua.
Yeah.
Or Cooper Kupp for that matter. Lions or Broncos? We got this. I feel like we got this more than once. Broncos for a floor, Lions for upside, but I think I'd rather start the Broncos. What's up, Taylor gang? Can we trust Dowdle at all this point? Trust? No.
But you can play him. You can definitely play him. You can't trust him, but you can definitely play him in these situations with the buys.
You can tamper a bit with him if you want.
He's not a must bench guy. Like he's not a burn it all down.
It was a bad like Houston's run defense and their front seven is very good. I mean, it gets a little bit better. Like he's going to have Carolina and Tampa Bay in weeks 15 and 16. Like I said, going into last week, like there's going to be respectable stat lines with Lamb and Rico. Like they're going to figure it out. If I said the same thing about Ferguson, he got hurt. It's just going to be tough to call win, and Lamb's your best shot. So, but this week against the Commanders, I don't know if I trust him, but you can start him. I don't know if he's going to be the player that gets you through, but what are the other options? He is an RB1 for what it's worth. Frozen Gaming, I'm in first place. I need some tight end help. I got Kincaid. You got Chase, Terry, Garrett, Ladd. Got offered Kelsey for Wilson. I just stream tight ends. I mean, who's out there at tight end? Like, your wide receivers are stacked right now. I'd hold on to that. You're in first place because you have Chase, Terry, Garrett, and Ladd. I mean, I like Kelsey, and I know he's coming off a bad game, and Noah Gray had 2 touchdowns, but who's out there on the waiver? Like right now, the waivers are kind of rich again for tight ends. Like, we've kind of gotten blessed throughout the season. Like, there's been options like almost all season long.
And Kelsey's still gonna have these weeks where like the Chiefs just don't look at, like they kind of sit him, they park him in the garage. We're saving him for January. He's getting what do you have, like 2 looks? He had 2 catches and like 3 targets against Buffalo. They're saving that for the playoff game against Buffalo.
Yeah, it's like a great game script. Very little Kelsey. Then, like I said, Noah Gray got the red zone looks.
Kansas City doesn't care. They don't care about your fantasy.
No. I don't think I do the trade. Who's out there on waivers that you can take a look at?
Probably Jonnu Smith.
Yeah. I mean, he's around like him and Disley are around like 50%. So you got a coin flip chance in your league. But he like Hunter Henry, like, I mean, I think I'd rather just keep getting 7-ish points out of a healthy Kincaid and he's on bye week 2 this week, but I don't think I do this trade. Tommy, Roma Dunze or Watson? Oh, these are 2 guys that are in that category of like, you just don't know. You drop them, you pick them up. They might be on the waiver. You start them when they have bad games. You bench them when they have good games. I mean, I probably adhere to rankings, but it's not like they're seeing the number 1 pressure anyways, but it's a better matchup for Roma Dunze. So, I mean, he did have the most targets of any Bears wide receiver last week. So, Watson's coming off his best game of the season too. But let me see quickly here. Watson and the Niners are 13th against the position. Just give me Roma Dunze. Why not? If you're still holding on to Roma Dunze, just roll with the punch this week, I guess. Texans, Chiefs, or Niners? S. Mateo. Texans. Give me the Texans. Pick 2 out of Seawat, Tillman, Leggett, Douglas, D-Hop.
Ooh.
Tommy, didn't you start the season with No, you started the season with ridiculous running backs. Okay. I just don't know if Tillman's going to be that guy we want him to be.
Not this week.
Yeah, I got trust issues with Tillman, that's for sure. Leggett, bad matchup. Douglas, bad matchup. D-Hop, matchup's okay. The Panthers are like 19th. Like, it's fine. I think I go C-Watt and D-Hop. Like, at least they're tied to the best offensive situations. Joe Dirt mentioned. Andrew, have a good night. Thanks for hanging. Was offered Connor for Chuba and Dell. That's interesting.
Yeah, Dell is terrible.
Well, Dell doesn't interest me, but this Chuba versus Connor is interesting part. Because I do feel like there's a potential that the Panthers, like, this season kind of starts to really wind down. Like, they're interesting because they're gonna
try.
They're gonna see what they have. They're definitely gonna try, but then the Cardinals could be trying to secure
They're trying to win that. Yeah, they're trying to win the division, and I think I kind of want James Conner. Just like he's super reliable every week.
You got Jonathan. Like, I'm not concerned about Jonathan Brooks, but it's a consideration, I suppose. I think I lean Connor as well, but it's very close. And earlier in the season, I would have still leaned Chuba. So I'd still say it comes down to your preference. Dell doesn't really matter to me. He's just been unreliable. Sleepy traded away Hill for Pollard. Now I got Brown, Mixon, and Pollard. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Stafford, Herbert, or dare I say Richardson? Herbert, Jeff. You already know what to do, Jeff. Start Herbert. Should I drop Jordan Mason for Bucky Irving? In a heartbeat, Jeff. Yes, you should. Eric. Henry is Zay for Brees, London, Bowers. Henry's a pretty tough playoff schedule with Pitt, Houston. Zay is Zay. Fair.
Zay is Zay.
That's fair.
That is perfect.
Pre-schedule's not as bad. London's is great. I think if you want to do the trade, I'm okay with it. It's kind of like last year. At times I get questions like about trading away CMC and getting a haul, and I'm like, yeah, you could probably do this, but if you lose CMC and then you face CMC week 16 and he has 30 points and you lose, it's like, oh. So you got to remember, I mean, Henry this year, like Kamara this year, Saquon this year, like these guys go for 30 points anytime, Mixon as well, but I do really like Brees throughout the playoffs. I've been saying it for a few weeks now. And I think I prefer the consistency of London over Zay. And getting Bowers is huge here. So if you feel good about it, I do think that it is a fair trade. But yeah, I mean, Henry might have a bad playoff schedule, but Henry can do it against anybody, But Brees has a great playoff schedule and really a great rest of season schedule. So if you want to do it and you like it, I'm not out on it, but I'm always hesitant because if I help, persuade you into your final decision of trading Henry and then Henry does Henry things, it's like right now, like if you were to ask me, should I trade Jamar Chase for Cup, Pickens, and Mixon? It's like, probably, yeah, but what if Jamar Chase could have 30 points every game the rest of the season? It's like it's just tough decisions. Mooney for Stevenson. Do you need the receiver or do you need the running back, Jacob? That's what it comes down to. Dom, what's up, man? I got offered Terry for my White. Do I accept? You got Chase, Neighbors, Moore, Waddle, Jennings, Barkley, Tracy, White, Bucky, Pacheco. Sure. I mean, you guys know I love White, but having Bucky makes me feel a little bit better. Pacheco coming back, Chase, Neighbors, Jennings, like I mean, you're kind of set either way. Like you got good running backs and good receivers. You can drop Waddle though. That's
Drop him.
public
Drop him
public
now.
yeah. Public service announcement tonight is you can drop Waddle. We've agreed. But yeah, I mean, like, do you want the extra receiver or do you want the extra running back? Rashad White, Bucky Irving, two of my favorite playoff running backs. You got Barkley. Like, you're just kind of rotating RB2 here because you're probably flexing. I mean, Chase, Neighbors, Jennings. So if you want to load up at wide receiver, if it's full PPR, go for it. If you want to keep White, that's fine too. I mean, your team's pretty much good either way. Or should I trade Waddle and White? No, I mean,
don't put ETN on your roster ever.
It's like Waddle and ETN are two of my, like, you can give them a boot players at this point. Like, you're never going to start, especially with these running backs. Like, you're never going to start ETN. You know, same thing. Like, you're never starting Waddle on this team. You know, I'd rather chase. I don't know. I'd rather pick up Adam Thielen to see if he gets back to that number one target status with Bryce Young than have Waddle or ETN for that matter. You know, yeah. The Terry McLaurin's one thing, but you don't need ETN here. Alessandro, should I trade Tracy for Jennings or Debo? It really depends on the roster. Really depends on your situation, but it's a fair trade. I'd rather have Jennings than Debo right now. His volume's way better. Trade away Wilson for Pickens. So I think we already got this one for you earlier, Sean. But if you missed it, it's I mean, like, Wilson is not playing bad. He's the wide receiver 9. It's kind of hard to look at Pickens because he's a wide receiver 19, but he's a different wide receiver the last 4 weeks than. And no, he's in the top 5 over the last 4 weeks. I don't know the exact rankings, and like they're going to stay very competitive. The Jets, I think, will try to win as many games as they can, but they
could. The Jets. We don't
know. Like they could, like, the only 2 players on the Jets I really feel good about are Wilson and Hall. Like, I think they're going to be involved, but I could see like Adams just like peacing out, and like I'm just waiting for Adams and Rodgers to get hurt, you know. I'm also waiting for CeeDee Lamb to get hurt. But anyways, it's yeah, exactly. If you want to, it's fine. I think Pickens does have a nice schedule rest of the season, so you want to go get Pickens, that's fine. But I'm not out on Wilson. Tommy, those wide receiver questions for the Catch Fam leagues. Well, if you're facing me, then do the opposite of what I said. I have Nico, DK, D-Hop. Oh, we're talking about, okay, when I asked about your home league. King Henry is diplomatic immunity to good defenses. That's fair. Oh, we're at the bottom of the chat. I had no idea. I thought we were still behind.
Nope, we made it. Look at us.
We made it. Eric, I'd rather jump in my own fantasy grave than be pushed into it. Yeah, that's one of those trades, man. I mean, it's like I said, he probably got to this point because of Derrick Henry. That's the best haul for Derrick Henry I've seen, I think. I don't think I've ever considered a trade that involves trading away Henry on the season, but I'll say it this way. I don't think it's going to break your season if you do the trade, but it could help your season. We'll see. Chris, should I trade away DK? Okay, I think it's
JK Dobbins. Yeah,
like DK and Dobbins for Sutton.
No, not if you need a receiver.
Yeah. Dobbins for Sutton, I think, is a fair trade. Sutton's been great. Should have another good week this week. So this is about as fair of a trade as you'll see, running back to receiver. Alessandro, if I decide to trade Tracy, should I go with Jennings or Debo? Jennings. Yeah. Jennings going to have the floor here. Debo has the risk and the upside, but yeah, I mean, we're all in on Jennings, right? I mean, if he starts stalling out, people are going to lose their minds. So.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I said he's wide receiver. He's the wide receiver 1 in this offense.
We both were calling on Jennings the past 2 weeks. I talked about Daniel a lot in recent videos. Must start and waiver wire, and now he's talk of the town. Adam's thoughts on Chase? Chase Brown is like Chase Brown, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins.
Play the Bengals, baby. Roll the Bengals out.
The only if they get eliminated from playoff contention is when I would. Which are they already eliminated? I don't think they're technically.
No, they're still hanging around, but
yeah,
it's tough. They're in a bad
because
spot.
like I mean Higgins is in a.
Higgins is the one that's going to sit out. Chase
gonna
play.
He's gonna pat those stats because he's going for the biggest contract in the league. But yeah, Chase. I mean, they don't. Has there been another running back who's gotten a touch in the past like 4 weeks? I mean, I can't believe people were worried when they traded for Khalil Herbert. I was like, are you serious? Herbert has 0 touches. Travion Williams has 0 touches. Zach Moss is dead. Chris Evans has 0. Like Chase Brown has all of the touches since week 9. Like nobody, all the targets, all the touches. What is there to worry about here? Chase Brown is, I think he's I don't know the exact numbers after week 11, but he is a top 5 running back over the past 3 weeks. He's up there with, Barkley and Mixon and Kamara, Henry. I don't know if Henry's actually top 5 the past 3 weeks, but you get the point. Chase Brown is, he's balling. You're good, Sean. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going crazy. Do I trade for Evans if I have Neighbors, MH, McConkey? Sure. I mean, yeah. It's still a great wide receiver, but you're probably okay. It just kind of depends on your situation and the rest of the roster here. Jacob, I have CMC, Brees, K9, Johnson, Brown, DK, Puka, Higgins, Mooney. Someone else in my league offered me Bijan and Evans for DK and Mooney. What? Yeah, do that in a heartbeat. Are they bad?
I want Bijan. Yeah, give me Bijan.
Bijan and Evans in a heartbeat, Jacob. Do that right now before they wise up.
Yeah, before they see this video.
I mean, you'd have Bijan, CMC, Brees, K9.
Yeah. And then AJ, Puka, Evans, Higgins. Holy smokes. Yes.
Which John? Is that Deontay John? I mean,
who cares?
Yeah, but I'm just trying to figure out which. If that's Deontay, you definitely don't need him on this team. Is there any other relevant? Oh, Quentin Johnson. If it's Quentin, then hold Quentin. How could I forget Quentin Johnson?
QJ.
How dare I? But
yeah, so even better then definitely because you don't need Mooney and DK then.
It is Quentin. Yeah, you
do this in a heartbeat.
Do this trade right now. This is probably this is the worst trade I've ever seen on the season. Not for you, but for them.
No, it's great for you.
Yeah, this is fantastic, especially with your team. I don't know what your record is, but you should be able, you can win your league if you do this trade.
This is a championship push team. Like Bijan instantly gets plugged in as your RB1, and you're rolling with CMC and Brees.
Yeah, the only thing that I would hope this is a double flex league because then he could start Brees, CMC, Bijan, and one of the wide receivers or Kenneth. I mean, yeah, I'd do this trade right away, man. This is a big win for you if you get it done. Ghost Hunter T is playing for a contract, so he may keep playing, but it's like
he's getting that contract no matter what.
Contract, yeah.
And he's got injury issues.
Yeah, he's getting the contract anyways because he's probably not getting it from the Bengals. Let's be honest.
He's definitely not getting it from the Bengals.
And it's like, it's T. Higgins. If he, pulls a hammy or bruises his thigh or hurts his back or,
gets looked at wrong. Oh, I'm out. Somebody looked at me wrong.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying. Don't get me wrong, but Chase is going for the most money for a receiver ever. And honestly, I know Burrow's is stuck with the Bengals, so Chase is probably going to stay there. But I'm like, man, I don't know. I've heard a lot with the Bengals, like they might be in like a similar situation to the Chargers where they just bring in like they might actually hire a real coach and pay money to a coach, but also they could just be in a bad.
Their ownership is so
It's so
bad.
bad.
It's so cheap. It's just
So bad.
embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean they're right up there with Jets and the Bears.
You know,
and like,
I got it. You know what? Minnesota's just gonna send 2 firsts and JJ McCarthy, and we'll bring Joe come play with Jefferson, and we'll be all good, baby.
I mean, I would.
We'll take care of you, Joe. We'll take care of you, Joe.
Or maybe they just do that for Chase, and then they have JJ and Chase. You know,
I don't need another crazy wide receiver.
JJ and Chase would be. I mean, I feel
yeah, you just roll JJ McCarthy.
Yeah,
we have a Ford Explorer with 2 Ferraris on the outside.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. But Herbert fumbled it in the first time the Bengals tried to hand it to him. Oh, did he really?
He did fumble.
Oh, I didn't even. I swear, I just looked at. I don't even remember that, but
it was on that run. It was late in the game. It was on a run. It was in the second half when they couldn't do anything. It was on a run, and he was like, it was like he was reaching, and you know, one of those like 95% of the time something hits before that ball pops out, and the ball just happened to pop out before he hit the ground.
Joe, what's up, dude? If by Thursday night Kansas City announced that Pacheco is going to play, do I start him or Najee? I'm starting Najee.
I think I start Najee.
I'm going to start Najee. I mean, you want to go Pacheco? Sure, fine. I'm not going to say no. I think I think Najee gets you 12 points, maybe more if he scores. I just take the points here. I do have Adam Thielen on my IR. Would you activate him and drop Waddle? Yes.
Yeah, sure. Anybody.
I love that I use that as an example. Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, Waddle has not had double digits other than week 1 against the worst defense in the NFL. Like, he's not getting the looks. I mean, I've said this for weeks. You know, I've taught, and it's just like, when are you actually going to start Jalen Waddle? You're just not. He's just not. He doesn't need to be on your roster at this point. We had the data. Like, we're not in week 3. We're not in week 6. Like, we're in week 12. It's like, and if Waddle starts producing, like, a lot of you guys have enough players in front of him anyways, you know. And I just don't think he's going to produce. So. Starting Breece and Chase Brown is solid for the rest of the season, for sure, Adam. Playing B-Rob and Tracy. B-Rob and Tracy have really good matchups. So, are you playing against them or are you playing them besides this week? You're okay. Yeah, you're good. Both are good starts this week. Good running back room if those are your 4 guys.
Yeah.
Joseph, Jordan Love, or Tua Tom? Close here. Let's see. I feel like I still lean Jordan Love, but the Niners, and they're 7th against the position. Patriots are 10th. I think I lean Jordan Love because I could see the game script being better, but it could go either way here. Tommy says that trade should get vetoed. I mean, I don't know if it's not too. It's close to that egregious, but I think Mooney is still he's top 15.
Yeah, something like
yeah,
that.
He's wide receiver 11. Then DK's like, I would let it go through in our leagues. Like, you're grown adults. Like, you know, if it was like Xavier Leggett and Mooney,
yeah,
it's like he's still got 2 very startable players.
Like like DK is kind of like DK. People haven't been paying attention. Like Bijan hasn't been good this year. It's like, no, Bijan's been pretty good this year, especially lately.
Great. But I would definitely look at that trade and be like, well, someone's getting fleeced. But part of trading is like sometimes people get fleeced, you know.
Especially since the guy who's getting fleeced offered it. Like, he's the one that offered that trade.
That's
That
true
like has
too.
a big implication to me. It's not somebody trying to fleece somebody. They sent the
Yeah.
trade out, so yeah, sure.
Yeah. They're grown adults. Like you send it, you accept it. Is what it is. Sticky, what's up, bro? Starting Collins, AJ Brown, flexing Cup this week, but AJ Brown's been disappointing. You trusting him this week, or should I start DK or Jennings? I mean, this is a tough sitch. Like any of these guys can outscore you. Like you got 5 studs right here. I am not personally worried about AJ Brown. I don't really okay, week 9 was bad, but he got hurt against the Jags. He had 11.5 points this past week. He's had 13 or more fantasy points every other game with a ceiling of 23.6 points. It's a good matchup this week. He gets a better matchup next week. Then he gets the Panthers. Like, I got no fear for AJ Brown or Devonta Smith, but these are close calls. Like, I'd be more worried about Collins. Like, I know the touchdown got called back, but then like, why couldn't Collins do anything outside of that against the Cowboys?
Yeah, 5 for 54, and then they had the late one that they overturned. So he
Yeah.
probably would have had a better day. 6 for 70 would have looked a little bit nicer.
Tennessee is good against receivers. They also don't
They're
scare
not.
me.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not really.
Yeah, it's like just one of those
yeah,
things.
they're definitely much better against the run than they are the pass from what I watched this weekend.
Yeah. Like any of these guys can outscore each other, but I probably do start Collins, AJ Brown, and Cup, but it could be close here. But yeah, I'm not worried about AJ Brown. Ty, I have CMC, Kittle, and Jennings. Should I flip one or leave it alone? I just leave it. No reason to trade any of these guys, and the Niners are looking at competitive game scripts the rest of the season.
They have to win.
Yeah. Kittle's top 2. CMC will be fine. Jennings playing great. Nothing to worry about. Dustin, Dobbins or Stevenson?
Dobbins. Okay.
I still lean Dobbins, but the matchup's better for Stevenson if you care. But I lean Dobbins. Better offense. And Stevenson has this weeks where he doesn't even get touches because they just want to throw Drake May. So, Elaine, good evening. So many running backs on bye for me. Would you start Jaylen Warren or Javonte? Jaylen Warren probably good for like 7.
Yeah, not a bad play.
Yeah, he's okay,
Javonte,
but
definitely better matchup.
The Raiders suck against the run, so give me Javonte. Bo Nix is versing my tanking Raiders or Baker with Evans back. I do like Baker this week. Give me Bo Nix. But Baker should get back into the swing of things here. And really, like, Baker had the bad game against the Niners. Other than that, and the week 3 game against the Broncos, Baker has 18 or more fantasy points in every game. He's the QB5. Nick's the QB9. I do think it's a better matchup for Bo Nix. Raiders are 25th against the position, and the Giants are 19th, so that's not a huge jump, but I will stay a Bo lever, but Baker's fine. Adam, Mike Evans or DK rest of the season, it's a wash. Second time this has come up tonight. Whoever you prefer is fine. Both are in playoff contention. Like, man, the playoff race looks pretty good right now.
There's one spot in both in the AFC and the NFC, and there's a million teams for both of them. But there's only one spot. Like, it feels like 6 teams are plugged in in each conference.
It's whoever you prefer. I think I lean Mike Evans slightly. But they've been they're so similar in terms of their output. It's whoever you prefer. What do y'all think Taysom Hill position for fantasy should be? Only flex since he plays QB and running back. He's not tight end. I think he's listed on the roster as a tight end, so I don't think you should. I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. What is he? I mean, it's a good point. I don't think he's not throwing enough that I think he should be only listed as a quarterback. I don't think he's even thrown a touchdown this year. So
No, he did throw a pick though. Did throw
yeah.
a pick.
So it's like the disadvantage, so to speak, that you can play him at tight end, but he's playing
He
quarterback.
probably
Like,
should be listed as like a running back
yeah, like that's fair.
or a flex. Maybe like list him as a flex, and he can only play the flex
Only being the
position.
flex. I
Yeah,
don't even know how to do that.
flex.
Yeah.
Change the position. He's the only player in the flex position. Him and
Um,
Justin Fields and Taysom Hill, flex.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, that would make sense, but I don't know that it's feasible. But I feel like tight end is fine because it's like
It's so cheap. It's so cheap. He's not a tight end. He
it's
doesn't
true,
play
but it's
tight.
like with how much tight ends fluctuate, it's like
It
it's
helps.
kind
I
of
mean, it helps. It helps in
yeah,
fantasy for sure. He's definitely becomes a viable tight end. He's not viable
yeah,
at wide receiver or running back.
yeah. So I think it makes sense. You're welcome, Elaine. Sticky sat love due to matchups week 11 and 12. Consequently, Stafford gave me 9 points, then Wilson gives me 6 points. Yeah, that's the fun of it. Do I just have faith and love this week? Are you starting Stafford or Wilson? I will say Stafford's startable. Wilson, I'm avoiding. Short week, not a great matchup. I go love. If it was me, I'd start love. But like you're saying, I mean, yeah, you get fluctuation here. I'll hold on to love and stream others if needed. No problem. Thank you for the questions. Ghost Hunter traded DK for Evans before last week. Yeah, you did start the trend. Look at you. All right, guys, we're going to start wrapping it up over the next 5-ish minutes. So if you guys need anything last minute, be sure to get it in. Start sits at running backs, wide receivers are out. Start sits, quarterbacks, tight ends will drop basically tonight or first thing in the morning. Depends on when you go to bed or wake up. Pete's Kickers video will be out tomorrow. Waiver wire videos out for the week. Must start defenses and streams are out for the week. And there are quite a few teams on waivers in the defense video. So make sure you guys check out all the videos, drop us a comment, drop a like, do all that stuff. And then we'll roll into the end of week content per usual for you guys. And we'll be back streaming Saturday as well. But great stream so far tonight. If you guys need anything last minute, get it in. And thank you guys for hanging out, dropping all the comment or questions tonight. Make sure you guys do us a favor, hit the like button on the stream as well. And be sure to subscribe. We are 7 subs away from 8,000. So thank you guys so much. Been a great season. Thank you guys for everything and all the support. VBZ2X. So I got offered CMC Myers Hill for HA Neighbors Williams. I have Chubb, Mostert, Rico, AJ Brown, Ladd, Higgins, Shakir, Laporta, Henry. I think I'm holding HA Neighbors. See, I don't know. Is it Jameson or Kyron Williams? At first I thought Kyron, but it might be JMO. I think like the way it's looking, HA and CMC aren't that different this year. I think I'd hold. I hold. You'd have A-Chain, crappy RP2, AJ Brown, Ladd, Neighbors, JMO. I mean, you got a lot of wide receivers. It is JMO. I mean, either way, you're going to have a crappy RB2, whether you have CMC or A-Chain. You have better wide receivers if you hold. So I would hold personally. I wouldn't do the trade. Taysom's position is yes. Yeah. 2 RB, 2 wide receivers, 2 flex. I mean, you're loaded at wide receiver. I just hold, bro. I mean, you're going to have a bad RB2. It is what it is. Thoughts on Hawkinson rush season was a dud last week. Didn't watch the game. What happened? We talked about this earlier. He's still not on the field very often. 48% of snaps or less through 3 straight games. He had a big game against Jacksonville. They suck against tight ends, and now we got to kind of wait and see. So the first game he had the excuse, but then you break down the snap percentages. It hasn't changed since the first game. Just Jacksonville can't defend tight ends. So If you have other options, I'm starting other options for now. That's basically it. He's just not on the field a ton, not getting a ton of involvement. Would you start Bo over Purdy? Asked Dustin. I would this week. Purdy's a little banged up. It's not a good matchup. It is a good game script potentially, but Packers 8th against quarterbacks, Niners 7th. It could be a little sluggish out there. And it's not a fantastic matchup. And he's hurt. Could be serious, could not be serious, could be fine, could be bothersome. Meh. Give me Bo. Time to Bo leave. I think, yeah, Purdy's a QB 8, Bo's a QB 9. I mean, output shouldn't be that different, but the matchup and the health lies with Bo Nix. Darnold thinks Hawk is a ghost. No, it's not true because
Tim told him about his best game of the season this week.
Well, also, if he was a ghost, he would throw to him. He would throw to him.
Yeah.
So, yes. You are welcome, Dustin. All right, MJ gets the final question of the night. Full PPR. I need 2 flex. DJ Moore, Ladd, Dobbins, JMO, Eckler. Yeah, I know DJ Moore is coming off an okay game, but I'd rather start Ladd against Baltimore secondary. JMO very startable. Dobbins very startable. But I think I go Eckler against the Cowboys. Call me crazy. But yeah, I mean, you got all potential starts here. These are all fine. I think I would go Eckler and Ladd, but like it could go JMO's way, could go Dobbins. So it's close. All right, I lied. Stafford or May? Stafford. But it's kind of a gross matchup. But
fair.
Let's go Stafford. Joe, with buys killing me, do I start Amon-Ra and Jameson or go with Addison? I'm going to say Amon-Ra and JMO because Addison had a good game last week, so now he's due for a bad game by Jordan Addison fashion. Addison's streamable, like he's startable, but
barely.
Yeah, I mean, I think you get better output out of Amon-Ra and JMO. All right, Luke just subscribed. I just need to win a game in the next 3 weeks to avoid last one game. What wide receiver should I be picking up to get back for Bijan for the next 3 weeks? MJ, you're welcome, by the way.
Amon-Ra.
I'm last in my 10-man, 3-8. I just need to win out of the points tiebreaker. My team is JD, Hunt, Monty, Ladd, MH, Laporta, Tracy. Bench is Bijan and Mooney. Luke, in order to win a game, I think I keep Bijan.
Yeah, just start Bijan over Kareem Hunt. What?
Yeah, you might not win this week, but if you just need to win one game, you got a little bit of time because then you're going to have JD, Bijan, Monty, Ladd, MH, Tracy, Laporte. Can you trade Mooney? I don't know what you need to do to trade to win a game here, my guy. And I wouldn't be looking to trade Bijan. So are you saying you want to trade Bijan to try and win this week and get a better receiver? You might win with this lineup, even with Hunt. Like, he gets the Panthers, so JD, Kareem, Monty, Ladd, you can win with this lineup. Laporta might not play. He might still be hurt, but this is actually a good lineup. I get it. There's all kinds of factors here, but for 3-8, this is a pretty good team. So I would advise against trading Bijan. And like Pete said, if you're going to trade Bijan, like, he is the RB6. So you better be getting something
wide receiver top 8.
Top 6, top 8 is fine. That's fair. I would not do a trade if I were you. So I don't want to waste a week without a top player. You're not wasting a week. Like, this is still a good lineup. I wouldn't trade. I mean, I wouldn't just push away a top 6 running back just because he's on bye week. I would advise against this, Luke. And you could seriously win with this lineup this week. All right, Ryan, before we get out of here, would you send Brees and McBride for London and Walker? You got Disley and Taysom. No, I prefer Brees over Walker. If you really need London, maybe. But even though you have Disley and Taysom, I still prefer McBride on the season. Yeah. I mean, he's going to be the most consistent. I'd rather be trying to do some weird trade and trade Disley or Taysom. So no. Yeah, you're good, Luke.
Yeah. I think you have a better chance at winning with Bijan than AJ Brown.
Yeah, I wouldn't force anything. Just hold. Luke, stay subscribed and let us. We need to know each week when you win. You will win a game. I believe it. All right. We're going to get out of here at some point. Tony, I have DJ Moore and Sutton as my starting receivers due to the bye week. Thielen, Dobbs, Watson, Moore available on the wire. Are any of these picking up or worth picking up and starting this week? Not over DJ Moore and Sutton. I mean, they all have an argument to start in the flex if you're desperate, but if you're flexing like a running back, nah, DJ Moore and Sutton are
fine. Yeah.
Better options. Yeah. You're welcome, Luke. No worries. Glad to help. And yeah, I'm invested.
We need to know.
We're invested now. All right. We just got a new subscriber, so I'm going to wait and see if they are throwing a question in. Sage. And other than that, we're going to try and get out of here in a couple minutes. Ghost Hunter, hit the like button or Pete will mistake you for Taysom Hill and hate on you relentlessly.
No, I won't make that mistake.
Yeah. Where Pete loves Taysom Hill again. Rad, Flex, Tillman or Eckler? Definitely Eckler for me. It's a bad matchup for Tillman. It's a short week. He might pop off, sure. He also has another chance at 7 or 8 points. I just have trust issues with Tillman right now. I mean, he lost me a matchup, so I might be biased, but I lost myself the matchup. It's not Tillman's fault. I mean, the Saints are like 26 against wide receivers. Now he gets the Steelers. I mean, it's they're top 12. I mean, Eckler gets the Cowboys, 28th against running backs. Opponent has Ingram, so I'm picking up the Chargers tight end. Nice. Block him from getting Will Disley. Do it. All right, guys, I think that just about does it. We hung around for a couple moments there. So if you guys do have further questions, go check out the videos for the week. Drop a comment. I will clear all comments between tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday. I'm a little behind, but I'll get there. So I'll get them cleared before Thursday Night Football. And, of course, just keep checking out the content throughout the week. Going to have everything that you guys need. It might help you guys anyways. So great stream tonight. Thank you guys so much for the questions. Thank you guys for hanging out. Pete, I'll let you say bye, and we'll get on out of here.
Yep. Always an enjoyment, guys. Quarterbacks, tight ends coming out tomorrow morning. My kickers coming out tomorrow afternoon. We are in the home stretch. Don't worry. Just breathe. You're going to make the playoffs. And if you're not, ruin somebody's season, please. That's all I ask. Just ruin their season. Yeah.
Yep. Try and knock someone out of the playoffs. Try and mess up playoff seeding. Pick up the best players on waivers to hurt the guys who hurt your season, and try and win the toilet bowl. Some leagues you do get money back if you win the toilet bowl.
Avoid the punishment. avoid the
punishment. That's part of it too. But all right, guys, that'll do for the night. So once again, thank you guys for the fantasy questions. Thank you guys for hanging out. Great stream. Appreciate all you guys, and make sure you guys are checking out the content as the week progresses. With that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on The Catch, and peace.